You speak as though I have conquered death. I live death every day. I am surrounded by it, smothered by it. Look at you now. He would have everlasting life. You seek to defy death, yet you cannot even defy sleep. And our like sleep is to death. It is a painted death.
Battlebrick, Battlebrick, Battlebrick Road. The Battlebrick Road to 100K begins now. You're not in Kansas anymore. Wait, what? Eric Weathers literally lives in Kansas? The Battlebrick Road to 100K. You're not in Kansas anymore. But Eric Weathers is. Be a part of it. Let's make it happen. The Battlebrick Road to 100K. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Battlebrick Road, only on Indiegogo. Nosfero, does this word not sound like the death bird culling the living dead at dawn? It is the name both ghouls and demons dare not say, for they know it means death for the undead.
Good morning, come on in. Coffee's good, fresh and hot. There's a waffle in the baker on the grill. We're making bacon. You're always welcome back.
Charge!
There's a fire beneath my skin. There's a fever that makes me ill. Gotta love the love that kills. I got 24 hours to live. Come back. I'm down on my knees. Come back. I'm begging you, please.
Happy Sunday and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on where you are. Good to see all of you guys here. Holy cow, look at all these comments I haven't even gotten to. Let's see who we've got in the chat here, and welcome all on this fine Sunday. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good one. I am scrolling back. My goodness. Yes, John, you did will this stream into existence. There is no getting around it. What's up, 80s Made Consumer? It was great to see you the other evening. I hope you're doing well. D-Wag in the house. Waffles are better than pancakes. I would agree with that, D-Wag. We've got Shadowhawk Backs here. Hail to you, my friend, and hail all. Absolutely. That's what we do here. Everybody here. Hail, fellow. Well met. Is that what it is? I just probably botched that, but it doesn't matter because that's how it's got to be. So we've also got Matt here. Good to see you, Matt. It is great to have you here, Matt Barr. Let me see what else we have here. Shadowhawk Backs. We have... oh my gosh, Lorenzo Sleestack. It's great to see you, my friend. Tip of the hat to you. And we gotta love the Sleestack. Good stuff. Good people. Misunderstood people is how we see the Sleestack. What's up, Matthew Fowler? How are you doing, my friend? It's great to see you. I cannot wait for your book, man. So excited about that. Apex Comics in the house. It's good to see you, Apex Comics. Past Master Dan as well. Let's see who else we've got here. Oh my goodness. Look at all this fine stuff here. Look at all these fine people. Stephen Rockwood throwing down links in the chat like it's going out of style. It is great to see you, my friend. Stephen Rockwood, hail to you. Cranberry Langers as well. Howdy to you. Howdy, CG. And howdy to myself, I guess. It's it's always great to be here. Maromi, good to see you, my friend. I hope you're well. Ahoy to you, and a tip of the hat, my friend. Let's see. Is there anybody else I missed here? Matthew Fowler. Oh, Admiral. How can I miss you? A to you. It's great to see you, Admiral, and I hope you're doing well. Thank you for all that you do. We appreciate you here. And let's see. Yeah, smash that like. Absolutely, D-Wag. You're absolutely right on that one. Back some books, all that good stuff. Hey, what is up, Tari? How are you doing? It's great to see you, my friend. Hail to you, my brother. And yeah, thank you for the compliment on the videos. I appreciate that. Was that a Sound Music reference? Yeah, it was more of a It's Morning in America reference. What's up, Improby? Good to see you, my friend. or improbi. I'm never sure how to say that. But you never know. Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be time somewhere, doesn't it? Rick Saylor, it's great to see you, Rick Saylor. How are you doing? Good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on how you are located. It happens. Brian Suddenly Old, I tell you, that's my favorite name. And good morning to you, my friend. It is great to see you here. Who else have we got here? Have I got everybody? More or less, I think I do. And so, yeah, let's get started talking about Nosfero, talking about comics, talking about The Worm is Turning, folks. The Worm is Turning. So, I have to tell you, I've been feeling very inspired lately, been working on a ton of different stuff, going on streams to support my friends. My friend Gabe El Taib just closed out his 60-day funding period. He's now in demand on his book. And lots of very cool stuff going on. Had a lot of fun. Gary Martin cracked me up the entire evening of that closeout stream that started off with the great Dean Cain being on it, which was awesome to see. And I was sitting here and I was thinking about, I just realized I could adjust my camera there. I was thinking about a video I saw on a channel called Clownfish TV, where they were talking about how many people have come around to what we were all talking about for years. Things that if they were said by other people, they would hunt them down and harass them. And I was really blown away by that because, yes, it's true, but not as true as Hicks Villain. Good to see you, Hicks Villains. Great to see you. And of course, Dragon Pisces, it is great to see you, my friend. And yeah, I was watching that and I thought to myself, this is the thing that is always difficult. And Neon exercised that demon for me, so I don't need to have that demon exercised. But it is one of the most difficult things in the world is, or not... Let me dial that way back here, guys. Let me dial that way back. And I hope you guys are all having a great Sunday. Is that when you are ahead of the curve and you know what's happening and you know what's going on. Let me move my fat head over to one side. Hang on a second here, guys. It's not shocking to you when things go the way, oh, that didn't work out at all. Hold on a second here. You're not shocked when things go the way that you thought they were going to go, but the hypocrisy can be overwhelming sometimes. And for me, watching people do what I always assumed they were going to do, they were just going to act like, oh, well, what's the big deal? Oh, we always thought this. And the problem is that there is such a incredible paper trail of what these people have said and done to other people, that it's the amount of hubris it takes to be able to just sit back and act like, oh yeah, what was that whole, just wait, guys, when it turns into, what was that whole woke thing about? What was that whole cancel thing about? That was weird. I was never one of those. And it's going to be from the very people who were the most blatant about doing it. And Neon was like, and now everybody's saying they're going to go to Indiegogo. And I'm like going, guys, it's going to get, if that is something that you find exhausting, buckle up, because it's going to be more of that. It's going to blow your mind how many, the hypocrisy is about to go supernova. And the cool thing is, as it's always been the case, even though, it was a struggle to get people to get out of the way so that we could do what we were trying to do, which was talk about comics and these things we've always enjoyed. The thing about it is that we've always been about making our work, and that's what we do here on a Sunday, and you're right, Brian, suddenly old, the internet is forever. Although I'm beginning to think, every now and again when I think that, is that Gabe was late with his April Fool's video. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He got us all, man. He got me. The thing I always say about that is I picture somewhere back in the day in Egypt, them going, stone is forever. There's no way that, what we've written on these tablets or these obelisks are ever going to be eroded in any degree. And they lasted pretty long, but I don't know if the same thing is going to be said for everything. But you're right. I'm glad that these folks have left a paper trail. Such was the one of the great follies of youth, I guess I would say, although many of them are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, all age demos, is not imagining things could ever be different and not imagining that things could change. Yeah. No, I actually don't think the worst part was the hypocrisy, to quote Norm Macdonald. Yeah, absolutely. Nosfero, so nice back at twice. Thank you, 80s Made Consumer. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's and since it's a Sunday morning show, I'm gonna keep it as light as I can because I was listening to 80s Made Consumer talking, and he was saying, every now and again I like to watch these streams with my daughter, in the background. I thought, oh gosh, I've got to do my best. We'll have our fun, but in the mornings, I'm always going to try to make sure I watch myself. You guys in the chat don't need to worry, but I need to worry. You'll catch me eventually, though. And it's one of those things that should have known better age group. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And so here's the thing about it that cracks me up so much, right? It's absolutely. There's an expression that we often use. See, I can't even use that expression, but yes, they should have known better, but it was the glee, it was the delight with which they acted that shows to me like it's just we were there. It's almost like it was their beliefs are so centered on status and opportunism that it's nothing for them to discard them when, as I was saying earlier, the worm turns, which is to say that we were in a position for many years, and I hope not in a resentful, not in a, trapped in the past kind of sense, but I hope everybody here remembers what it has been like to be on this, be in this place, be in this location. I don't want to say this side of things, but in a way it's sort of true. But to be on this side of things and having all of these people breathlessly saying the most insane stuff with impunity, and then, that it's this was not easy. And of course people are going to start flocking in. You're going to see it. You're going to see people getting on Indiegogo. You're already seeing it with big creators who were denouncing that platform. I mean, it was covered beautifully in the Clownfish TV, rant. And I'm not the best rant in the world, but it is what it is. Leg Kick One, great to see you. How are you doing, Leg Kick One? It's great to have you here, my friend. Always great to see you. But it's one of those things where I look at it and I think, and Bancroft has said this, I think, really, really well. That's why it's great to, know what, not even know what you think and be locked into it or anything like that, but know what your values are. And to me, destroying people's lives for how they think was something that I think we've got to get back to teaching people and instructing young people to know, because besides the fact that it's absolutely abhorrent, it's something that we don't believe in as a society. And I think that it's this period people are going to look back on it, if we do our job, in a sense, is to make sure that people understand, what the heck was going on here and how wrong it was. And not just, it's almost impossible to do because that's just the nature of things. But I intend to kind of remind people, yeah, you were, do you remember when this really innocent guy was accused by a psychopath of doing things he never did in his life, Johnny Depp, and you guys wrecked his entire life over it gleefully? Do y'all remember that? I do. And I said, that makes sense to me. Those kinds of things. It's not so much an I told you so, is that as it is, people need to grasp that Ethan and so many people, more than you can shake a stick at, were right about everything that was going on, and still are in so many regards. And people were slow to get to it, and people were arguing about it. They were like, "What are you guys talking about? You're crazy." And it's like, no, you were wrong. A big thing for me is with this stuff is you can't wait around for people to apologize. That stuff, is rare. You can't wait around for people to do this, but you can remind people when they were wrong. And these folks were wrong. I thought John was talking about EPS. If you need anything, you can always hit me up, bro. There you go. Leg kick 1. There's love. Yeah, due diligence. Isn't that a shocker? Yeah. There's no getting around it, guys. And it's so true. It's so true. There's this thing called due diligence, due process, all of that stuff. But here's the other thing that's important, and why I think it's a good thing as long as it's a free marketplace, which is another thing I believe in. As long as it's a free marketplace, it's great to give everybody the opportunity to put their stuff out and around us, because they're going to, yeah, absolutely. You have to paint the boobs. Gradually work up to it. But the thing about it is that you have to, it's really good for people to see, speaking of, the competition, the context. What was so incredibly frustrating was having some of the best work forced off of the market so that mediocrity could claim to be exceptional. And that's exactly what happened in fine arts. That's exactly what has happened in any field that's been taken over by an incompetent bureaucracy. And it happened in comics, it's happened in movies, it's happened in entertainment. And as you look at the stocks that are collapsing, the entertainment stocks that are collapsing, now they can't afford anymore to keep the bureaucracy lying for them that their stuff is good. And this is the time for us to be consistent and to keep putting our stuff out there. Must say, let me see here. Do you think they're being sincere? It's hard to think you can be that wrong for that long unintentionally. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's the way it is, I'll think on it. Hey, tip of the hat, my lady. I had to make sure I said hello. Suppose people could be that stupid. I mean, there's a lot of idiots. Yeah. I think what you have to look at is what people need to own in this situation, funny enough, is not a perspective, it's a mentality. And the mentality, and this is a thing about evil. This is, funny enough, something that is in Nosfero, although it is in the myths themselves, is that they are vampiric. These are folks who, what's the word I'm looking for here? They go along with mobs. That's the number one thing that they need to learn. The only thing we need to help people to understand is it's the same thing as cult-like thinking or anything else, is that what they were swept up in was not some previously unknown phenomenon. It was groupthink, cult-like thinking, and they are not free thinkers. They were so easily able to move away from their moral center, if they had one, or to see human beings as human beings and then see them as dehumanize other people, because that's what the group was doing. And yes, it was the collectivist, Stalinist, fascist, just following orders, just following what everyone else was doing. And that's something that they're going to have to confront, and they should be. I can tell you guys this: I have never called for or joined in a mob of people trying to destroy somebody's life. That is insane to me. Hey, what's up, Eric the Guapo? How are you doing? Good morning and happy Sunday to you. People used to understand the universal monster stories were allegories. You're absolutely right. They did. True art can't be manufactured by committee or by politics. Politics is where art goes to die. That's sadly it. And we're realizing that. Michael French, who has a channel on YouTube called Retro Blasting that I haven't been watching as much as I want to, but it's a great channel. He puts a lot of thought into it. It's about old 80s toys, 80s made consumer. You would absolutely love the channel in terms of its content, at least. He said that when politics enters the conversation about imagination, imagination has left the room, and imagination should be the conversation. And it's so true. Ethan Genderbent Rainbow Bright in a draw stream to prove a point, and his subscribers told him to turn it into a comic book, and so Rainbow the Brute was born. You're absolutely right. Yeah, he was, I don't, again, yeah, sick of pants. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's such a funny thing. They're willing to destroy people who could be people to make their lives easier. They suck. Yeah. Well, here's the biggest thing I would say. Hail to all of you. That's cool. Oh, yeah, just knows that. Yeah, that's right. This is the thing, right? Here's what I would say is that if what I would always tell anybody who's in a situation where they feel miserable, hopeless, like they don't have any answers, and like things that aren't working for them, that all of the answers they have, all of the people that they're around, all of the things that they have taken as fact are what they need to feel happier and better about their lives aren't in the tiny little world they're controlling and that they have made. Do you guys understand? So that one of the greatest realizations a person can get to, or one of the first and most important, is it's not here. This isn't where it's at. These aren't the people I need to be around. And the reason I'm in Comicsgate, and the reason why I'm with all of you this fine Sunday morning, the reason why Nosfero has funded, the reason why I'm making the best work of my career, and I hope to do so until they put me in the ground, is because I took a look around at my life and I said, these aren't the people that I want to be around. They don't share my values. They share these other values. And my values are in line with what the founding fathers were talking about, what civil liberties are about, what all of those things are about, even though they're claiming as loud as they can that those things are what they're respecting. Do you know what I mean? And it is a big thing. Now, this is the funniest thing I always tell people is, and I'll use this as an analogy, is that I never wanted to be one of those people who was a smoker, quit smoking, and then wouldn't shut up about it. I just am like, cool, do it. If that's great. I think we all have seen the Surgeon General's warning, but we don't need to go on and on and on and on and on about it. And I'm the same way about a lot of things, except for the things that are truly important. And so I try not to spend a lot of time on anything that I have in the rearview mirror, but some things that are very insidious and that breed, frankly, have destructive impacts on people, need to be pointed out, which is to say, mob thinking, presumption of guilt, which is completely antithetical to our society, and being able to be free to make the best ideas that you possibly can. And I heard someone talk about this. This is such a cliche at this point. It's amazing. And say, hey, what's up, Tarks9? Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. And hey, what's up, Phil? How are you doing, man? It's great to see you, brother. Gosh, I turned my head for a second. You guys go nuts on here. That's great. But the thing that I can't overstate this, and it's incredibly important to me here, is that we need to understand that we are the most successful society in history for a reason. And the things that are falsely attributed to us are things that we need to make sure that the record shows those aren't ours. And what was interesting is that what John Malin got canceled for was for saying exactly what has been, or whatever, it was. I mean, it was one of the straws that broke the camel's back, was him pointing out very obviously that the mentality behind this groupthink insanity was very in line with a particular country in Europe. Well, really, it started before we got involved, but in the early, early half of, the 20th century. And I think that that's an important thing for us, from drinking too much rum and beer, says Tarks9. Yeah, but it was a fun time. I always love, one of my favorite people in the world is, where's the rum? One of my favorite people in the world. Hey, what's up, B-Rose? Great to see you, my friend. Society, you say? Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Los eight slept by me there. Yeah, absolutely, guys. It's great to see you guys. But this is the thing, right? Is that you can't ever, or I'll speak for myself. One of the things that I think is the most important thing any of us can do is to do the thing we're talking about. Go beyond social criticism, which is really something that the social criticizers are going to be way better at because all they do is talk. That's pretty much what they get, paid to do. And to get to a point where we are, we're making the stuff, we're leading by example, and we have been. And even though it was a very, difficult job in the beginning, the thing that we're starting to see is that it has rewarded those people who were the trailblazers, and it should reward them because they put so much in when it wasn't hip to do it. And it's funny too because one of the things I said, and we'll get into, I'm going to talk a little bit about my teaching career because this is or this particular situation because it really does relate to it. I was at a small private college for a while and really went in there and had a huge impact on that place. Huge. And worked really hard, did hours of free work trying to help things up because that's the kind of person I am. It's who I am. It's what I do. And I don't do it forever. And I certainly will never do it again like that because I learned a valuable lesson about that. But maybe not one you would think. It's not a lesson of resentment, but anyway. And they were in a very tough financial spot when I started there. A big deal had fallen through, and to have them absorbed into a state college and get state funding, something that I knew on its face wasn't going to happen. I mean, it was so obvious, obviously rose-colored glasses, the thought process they were having. But people were talking in a lot of doom and gloom about the place when that deal fell through. And I just got to work because that's what I do. I got to work painting classrooms, doing website stuff, helping their social media stuff, all, again, not in my job description, while other people sat around just saying, oh, we're doomed. That wasn't the word they used. It wasn't we're doomed, but you get the general picture, right, guys? And what's up, Julie? How are you doing? I just saw you're in the chat. Great to see you. And they were sitting around saying, oh, we're doomed. It's over. What are we going to do? Everything, blah, blah. And I said, no. And as we started to and I just got to work, and things turned around through a lot of hardworking people, but I certainly did my part of that. And when that was happening, I said, so many people sit around, and I said this to my students, I'll never forget it. So many people sit around worrying that this college is going to go out of business. But I've got pretty decent horse sense, and that's not what I'm worried about. This is what I was worried about. Wait, hold on a second. This is the thing that people were saying. They were saying, "Oh man, this is we're blah blah. We're how are things going to go?" I said, "People are worried about that. That's not the problem. That's not the thing we need to be preparing ourselves for and worrying about." And they said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What we need to be worried about right now we're a college that largely everybody who goes here is working class. Everybody here, a lot of people, first-time college students. We've got students who are veterans. We've got students who are older. We've got students from every background, and we've got a lot of diversity here. Real quote diversity." And I said that what we need to be prepared for is when hipster posers start to infiltrate this place and basically undo all of our work. They come in and they go, "This place has a problem," or, "Oh, wow, now that you've made everything so comfortable and stable, now we want to come in with our agenda and our ideology." And I'm going to tell you this right now. This is the deal. It absolutely happened. And it happened so fast, our head was spinning. So here's how you protect any group from that. It's real simple, guys. Or group. But you know what I mean. And guys, we can't let them have the word community, by the way. They're bored with it. They've moved on from it. Because but any situation, any social group, I mean, but that's more their speed. But this is the thing. All you've got to do is look for people coming in who have a lot of ideas on how things should be done, but who aren't doing things. People who aren't having fun, people who are having problems. And when that happened, it was the first thing this person said is they walked in, they've been there 5 minutes, and they were like, obviously there's a diversity problem here. And we were like, what? Like it was the weirdest thing in the world because that was not a problem we had. And they basically were put in a situation where they were put on third base and they couldn't steal home, and they wrecked that place. And I'll always believe it. They wrecked that place. And instantly everything that we had turned around was eroded so completely fast. But it was because we surrendered certain core virtues. You got in a bunch of people who love when you've made the seat warm, who love when you've done all of that hard work to make something fun, when you've created all this stuff. And they'll come in and they'll go, oh, cool, this is comfy. Now I'll have that opinion. And so this is the thing about it that's really strange. We're living in a time where people put their opinions out there like crazy. And I'm not ever going to be one of those people who goes through somebody's social media for that sake like they did. That's just nuts. But I will tell somebody, if they pretend like that's not the case, that's different. Stalking somebody and looking for something wrong they've said is one thing. Checking the tape is another thing. And I don't think anybody, if you're spending all day doing that, there's something clearly off. But I think that I don't want people to go around and do things like what happened to Ethan, what happened to John Malin, and act like it never happened. I think that's a really dangerous thing. And there's too many things that we act like never happened that we need to start stop pretending like dyslexia. We need to stop pretending like that's not a big deal. And that's just my take, guys. It's just crazy. Yeah, Sarah Bum in demand. Absolutely. Tip of the hat to Sarah, wherever you are, sweetheart. And there's the link. David Brohawk Williams, the man with the plan, the superstar, King David Brohawk Williams. It's great to see you. Making comics great again, one book at a time. God bless Jonathan and supporters. God bless you, David. God bless you, your family, and all the backers of Truth, Justice, and American Way. We love you, buddy. Let's see here. Yeah, absolutely. Check out that book. I was in a live stream and someone randomly asked, even though there was no prior reference to it, if the people who were doing live streams were pro LGBTQ just because SJWs. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Roger Ryder, good to see you, my friend. And well, it is sad, but it's inevitable. It's inevitable that those people will try to be there. But this is the thing. If you have created something that is a meritocracy and not about status, then it's not a problem. So all you have to do is ask yourselves, do these people who claim to like comics have a history of buying and reading comics and making them? Do they know what a nerd is? Like if someone comes up to you and says, well, Comicsgate, I like Comicsgate, but Comicsgate does this. What is going to make you, that is all they have to do. And it's the fact that fools go, do they? That's it. Instead of going, no, they don't, or looking and checking tape and saying, okay, on what grounds do you say this? Because none of these people can sustain an argument past 5 seconds anyway. That's just the way that it works. And so for me, when I'm looking at this stuff, when people talk about things I don't know anything about, I try my best, as is very important, not to weigh in on it. And so all of these folks who clearly never read comics, never went into a comic store, all they could do was project their view of things. And their view of things is incredibly simple. If you were at the Mean Girls table, popular and happy, and you saw nerds, you said to yourself, and you knew that nerd can't sit here. That nerd's a loser. And so when you get yourself into nerd culture, you project your popular girl stuff and say, I wanted to sit at the nerd table, but the nerds wouldn't let me sit there. No, that's what you did. Do you guys get what I mean? That's what you did. And now the shoe's on the other foot. Don't act like, and nerd culture is nerd culture. It's not going to forever 42. That's right. Forever 42 indeed. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, fools rush in. Absolutely. Everyone in Comicsgate is a 42-year-old man. Absolutely right. It's laughable. Look at the screens when we're doing group chats or group streams. But here's the other thing, right? Do you guys think, like, when people talk about certain people in a movement we will call GG for the sake of our YouTube overlords, do you guys honestly think that outside of unbelievable narcissism, it was really difficult for certain people to get into certain things? Or did they just bat their eyelashes doing nothing and then have it happen? It's the craziest thing in the world to watch. People don't have, people like that don't have a huge stamina for doing things. They don't. All you got to do is let them prove themselves over time or disprove themselves. It's when we rush to embrace people in our enthusiasm who want to weigh in on everything that we get ourselves into trouble. I mean, again, I was a Star Wars fan back in the day. No one cared about Star Wars. So when someone comes in who never cared about Star Wars and is like, this is what I think it ought to be, it's crazy. It's a weird thing to do. It's a super weird thing to do. So we need to get back to gatekeeping, truly gatekeeping. No, it's real simple. We just need to, there's this great bit of advice that the late Randy Pausch, who I was thinking about, passed away at 47, did this famous lecture called The Last Lecture, said that we would all do well to pay attention to. This is going out to you, Johnny Depp. This is going out to you, Johnny. When it comes to meeting people, ignore everything they say. And at first, it's okay to ignore everything they say and look at what they do. Just look at their actions. That's it. If you're in a situation and every time you're in it, the person's making you miserable or is knocking that particular thing, maybe just question it. But I will tell you, these people move in and out of your life so fast when they realize that, they don't get a bite, as they say. Think of it like fishing. Not that I fish. You've got, you're sitting there fishing. These people do not fish. They will not sit there. They will not invest the time. They won't do it. They won't wait. They will move on to something else. So all you have to do is not reward them for minimal effort. It's really simple. Yeah, don't be a simp is a really good bit of advice. You're absolutely right. Slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, think about it this way, guys. Yeah, I'm Rubber Your Glue. You're absolutely right. I'm not reading that, Odin, but that's beautiful. And hey, Odin, it's great to see you. Yeah, nope, you can see bandwagon fans within 5 minutes. Yeah, you can't just, you're absolutely right, 80s made consumer. It's not rocket science. All criticism is real, but not all criticism is credible. Yeah, do not catch up to the critics. Yeah, guys, this is the thing. If I'm making great work and I'm putting it out consistently and I have an audience in a reasonably, not perfectly, but reasonably fair environment, that should take care of itself. I should be able to achieve some level of success with it. Well, that, goes without saying. Yeah, I think that's true with certain people. Let people think about this stuff. Yeah, no, I think they expect it to be handed preferential. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's well, this is the other thing. Like, even just to break that down even further, guys, even just to break that stuff down even further, right? Is that there's a lot of stuff I love and I'm into, and people can absolutely have opinions on things. That's like ridiculous. Like, that's a part of a free society, right? But the thing is that I'm not into devil's advocate. I'll put it to you that way. That's one of those things that, wolf milk don't simp. I'm definitely not a devil's advocate, which is, I don't just come in and go, I don't want to waste somebody's time and say, well, what if you did this instead of what you're doing? And for example, what do you think of Thor? Tell me about Thor. Well, what if Thor was, no, not what I asked. I asked, what do you think of Thor? Like, if I ask somebody, and this is what we do, God bless us. If I ask somebody, what do you What's your favorite universal monster? Let's break this down into hobbies and things we're passionate about. What's your favorite universal monster? For any of you guys who like the universal monsters, let me know what your favorite universal monster is in the chat. Okay? If you're a fan of universal monsters, let me know what your favorite universal monster in the chat is. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, let's see what we got. Gila Monster, Gilman, yeah. Creature from the Black Lagoon, baby. The comics are niche, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Rock. Oh God. I can't do it. I can't. Wolfman, Dracula, the original Mummy. Nice. Wolfman or Dracula. Cool. So now let's talk. But here's my question, though. Always Frankenstein's monster. I gotta tell you, Frankenstein's monster is awesome. Boris Karloff, rest in peace, my brother. Let's see here. Mikey Studios, yes, but Shanth, if I may play, okay, never mind. I got nothing. No, sorry, you're killing me. Frankenstein's monster. Also, I love Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein and Wolfman. Love that movie. Favorite Universal monster, Frankenstein. There you go. Hello. Yes, absolutely, RQ. Good to see you, RQ. Where are you? I just missed you there. Yeah, absolutely. So you guys get the idea. So now I'm going to say to you, but here's a question I have. Don't you think we should make a monster movie, or there should be a monster movie that passes the Bechdel test? Don't you think that the Universal Monsters movies are all about male power? Don't you think if you engage in that conversation, you're a sucker? And I'm telling you so. Because that person is not talking about Universal Monsters. They're talking about themselves. Or, I don't know, I tried to have an opinion on Universal Monsters, but someone said to me I had a stupid opinion. Will you defend me? Will you defend me from them? Will you protect me from someone's opinion? Instead of defend yourself, it's an opinion about a monster. You can get through this. Do you guys get what I mean? Think of how off-center that conversation was just taken. Do you want to live in that place? I don't. So when I see those people coming, I'm like, not here. Peace. Not interested. So for me, art school and all that stuff is simple. It has the same thing. Let's talk about art. Yeah. Guys, can I tell you something? When I was in high school, I was into Universal Monsters. I had this was back in 1985. I had a Universal Monsters iPhone cover. Wait, can I ask a question? There weren't iPhone. Never mind. And I went to go sit down at the Universal Monsters fan table. There was no such table. We also didn't have a comic book table. We had a nerd table, just to be clear. And a lot of us didn't read comic. Never mind. And they said to me, you can't like Universal Monsters because you're a girl. And there are no Universal Monsters that are girls. What about Bride of Frankenstein? Shut up. Well, there's never been a woman creator of Universal Monsters. What about Millicent Patrick? Shut up. And do you guys get what we're talking about? Do not, we are a very loving group of people, us nerds. And when somebody comes up to us, we typically go, oh, cool, you're like us. But we take for granted that before now, it was never cool to be a nerd. So we took for granted that if someone came up to our table like fools, because we didn't feel the Disney Hollywood status shift, that they were into what we were into. We said, why else would you be doing it? And when it became about status, yeah. You think? Yeah. Crazy. Exactly. Is it? Yeah, never put down. It's exactly right. This is what it's about. Yes. Do you guys get what I mean? This is all it's about. And by the way, I have a copy of the annotated Frankenstein and actually 3 books on the history of Frankenstein. One has the original notes, handwritten notes by both Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley. And this is the thing about it, guys. This is the thing, is that being empathetic is how, being too empathetic and not having any sense of yourself and any centering is how you get rolled by people. And that's really important. What's up, Dragon Pisces? Good to have you back. Yeah, do you guys get what I'm saying? This is what we're talking about. You get rolled. When someone comes up to you and says, you know, oh my gosh, I love what you do, that is awesome. That is a wonderful thing. And if you haven't heard that a lot, it's an even better thing. And so when people were like, nerds, I want to be a part of you, we're like, welcome, we welcome all. And we hadn't realized that like we had suddenly won the lottery. And that these people were into us because we'd won the lottery, which brings me back to the worm turning and Comicsgate. And I think Ethan is one of those people who's had a really good eye on this stuff, but a lot of people have. The worm hath turned, and a lot of you guys who have been with us and been in all this stuff, we are a great group of people, and we can continue to be a great group of people. And we've already had our brushes with people who wanted to be in here when it was huge, when it was great at the beginning. So we've already learned a lot of valuable lessons, right? What's up, Noah? Good to see you. Odin, good to see you as well as always. Nikatronis, good to see you. Yes. So important. Yeah. And so we've already been through all this stuff. It's not like you have to sit around and stand watch, but you just don't have to be like, if some stranger comes up to you and starts patting your back pocket, check your wallet, kids. It's not rocket science. Do you know what I mean? Yes, it's like Twitter in real life. Don't engage. It's a trap. You're absolutely right. Like, guys, it's like when you're fighting Floyd Mayweather. Sorry, I got to talk about boxing. It's been over 5 minutes. When Floyd drops his hands and puts his head out like this, don't try to punch him in the head. It's a trap. He's setting you up for a counter, you fool. And it's a pull counter. He does it every single time. That's no moon. It's a space station. You're absolutely right. It's not rocket science. It never has been. Never has been. And it's one of those things to where the only thing that has really changed, that we should have never believed changed for a minute, was that being a, quote, nerd became cool. And what it was being able to claim expertise in something you know nothing about became a big status thing. And so people who crave status went to it. It was never about being a nerd. So now being an indie creator, being Comicsgate, it will come in and out of favor over time. All this stuff, indie comics come in and out of favor, guys. This is the reality of it, is that right now it's going to be, for a while, I guarantee you it's on the horizon, it's going to be a status thing. And what it really is, a status thing is temporary, but it's never a status thing, ever. What it's really about is it's a work thing. It's us showing up in chats, talking about the fact, like, let's get back to this. This is super important. What's your favorite universal monster? For me, whatever answer you have doesn't matter. I am equally excited because we're talking about universal monsters. We're talking about comics. Do you guys get what I mean? This is the best thing in the world. And I wanted to wade through all of that stuff, all of that nonsense to get to this point. I'm painting vampires and mummies and H.P. Lovecraft and eldritch horror and beautiful babes. And I'm painting the human figure, and I'm telling a story about myth and spirituality and evil and triumphing over evil and good and the power of good. Doesn't that feel so much better than any of that other stuff? That's the stuff you got to check your mirrors every now and again, but don't drive the car based on it. Just have horse sense. If you find yourself walking down a dark alley, and there ain't no Batman, maybe pay attention a little bit or take an alternate route. It doesn't mean you should get mugged, but it certainly means, you should keep your eyes open and not act like they're painted on. That's all it is, It's all it is. I guess if you have no ideas of your own, defending someone else's makes sense to you. Yeah, well, and here's the other thing, guys. I don't have any investment in, well, actually, that's not true. I was hired to do a piece, which was great. Thank you, Ethan, for that. But this is the thing. I'm invested in good artwork. I'm invested in kind, hardworking, industrious people. I don't have to cut someone out of my life because we disagree, but I don't know if someone needs to be in my life if we disagree constantly. Does that make sense? And I think that that's the crazy thing. We're the people who've always made the artwork because we're the people who actually do. Like, the worst appropriation, dare I say, of vocabulary was the expression doing the work. And that meaning you tell other people what they should be thinking about and devote all their time to. Doing the work means actually doing work. I'm doing work right now. This is my work, and I'm doing it. The work, our collective work, is something I don't fool with because that's not what this country is founded on. I'm not a collectivist. Does that make sense? Yeah, and it's easy. They were the popular kids. They were the not even the popular. Well, yeah, they were the status kids. Let's stop saying popular because well, say whatever you want, free country. But status is the main thing. There's people who are trying to create wealth. Wealth can have a broad amount. Wealth can be time with your kids. It can be certainly, health and all of that stuff. But status people are singularly focused on status. And that's how you spot them. They don't want the freedom to build their own thing. They want to find the thing in the group that has the biggest status and take the quickest path they can to get onto that status place. They would call it a platform, but what it really is a seat at the cool kids table in their mind. So they don't want to bring anything to it. They don't think, before they get involved in things, they don't think, could I bring something to this? They think, can I get something from this? And that's the difference. If you see someone getting more than they're contributing to something, in terms of, and by the way, contribution and being a nerd is the easiest thing in the world, guys. Am I preaching on Sunday? What is happening here? Apologies to all the people who do it better out there in this world. But this is the thing for me. The easiest thing in the world is to contribute with your enthusiasm. Do you guys get what I mean? That's it. All we're looking for is people to come and go, yes, I love comics. You know what? I don't really like... the first time I took a trip, I was in a guy to San Francisco. A guy had me, a friend of mine got us onto Skywalker Ranch. It was amazing to go there. Joseph Campbell recorded The Power of Myth there. George Lucas, the true genius behind Star Wars. Thank you very much, which people seem to have forgotten. All these amazing people were there. Kurosawa was there at one point. I know Coppola, all these great people, right? It's a big deal to be there. And we started talking about Iron Man, and I talked about how I liked the Iron Man. I was actually a really big fan because the Marvel Superheroes role-playing game of the Iron Man that they just released a figure of that had the triangular chest plate and the silver and red chrome dome sort of top. And he goes, "You liked that shellhead design? That was garbage." Like, he just went off. And he's giving me a tour of Skywalker Ranch, but it was a great nerd conversation. That was not a fight. Like, we were talking about Iron Man. It was awesome. Do you guys get what I mean? So please tell me what Universal monsters you like. If you don't like Universal monsters, cool. At least you're being honest. But don't pretend to hate or like things based on what's popular at the time. Don't pretend to hate Indiegogo because it will improve your status. Don't pretend to hate Ethan Van Sciver and try to wreck his life because you hate yourself and you want the status. Don't. God, Mighty Geek Studios. I hope it doesn't come to that, but thank you guys. I appreciate it. Oh, very nice. Yeah, it's a really cool, beautiful place. And when we were there, here's the thing, right? When we were there, a good buddy of mine, he goes by the groomsman now in my chat, said something that I will never forget. And I think about when I watch everybody in CG creating work and putting it out there. He goes, think about this, dude. We looked around. It was beautiful, breathtaking there. All this came from one person's imagination. And I think about that when I think about Disney, the man, during his time and all the things he created, from early cars, with cloth tops, the Model T, which was his life during that period, all the way up to audio animatronics. That's the world he helped shape. And it's amazing. Oh my gosh. Bless you guys. You guys are awesome. Let me see here. Many factors, but in what your feet goes. Yeah, exactly. What you starve dies. Absolutely right. But I do hate Indiegogo. Yeah, we have our moments, don't we? And by the way, I'm not married to Indiegogo. for its status, because I think it's going to make me more successful. It was a principled decision, and if they start getting in the way of my principles, I will go somewhere else. It's that simple. It's when you know what your principles are. Like, I'm not going to suddenly pretend like I like a sport or a hobby I have no interest in. It's weird to do, right? Right, the geeky debates, the theorizing, and the hashtag out of what is important. The hashing out, not hashtag. Oh god, hashing out of what is important out of the compartments of our fandom. Yeah, because that resistance, that debate about what we love about characters, is what builds the muscle. Do you know what I mean? It's steel sharpening steel, as Coach says, but I think it's resistance builds muscle, and that's what we do. What is up, Enrique? Good to see you, my friend. Good morning to you. Yeah, Skywalker Ranch. Bet that was a great day. It was. It was a great day, and it was. I was a new father. My kids were 9 months old. It was the first break I got, and went out there so that I could. My wife was like, "You need to go out and get some rest," and I went out there. My brothers took care of me out there, and they took me to Skywalker Ranch, and it was life changing. It was like I felt like I could go on. You know what I mean? I was this kid from Chattanooga, is born in Houston, raised in Chattanooga. Never could have imagined that he would be at Skywalker Ranch when he was watching all those behind the scenes things. It was moving. It was moving in the same way when I went to the Magic Kingdom out in California with the same guys on another trip. And I thought to myself, like, Walt Disney walked down this street at some point, guys. I mean, that stuff for all of the horror of people who don't care about Walt Disney, who loved America and loved our principles. Stephen Rockwood, I just saw your comment pop up. You stop. You stop. But if that doesn't inspire you, yes, The Mummy is pretty cool. And really, like, I actually like the Fez wearing Boris Karloff. I forget what his name is now. I'm blanking on it. Someone in the chat's going to get it because you guys are fast and you search better than I can. Oh my gosh. What is the name of him when he's in that shoot, that state with the beautiful wrinkled makeup? It's so good, guys. It is such a beautiful makeup job by Jack Pierce. I love it. Oh, Peter Lorre is awesome, though, by the way. That is all. I do love Peter Lorre. Yeah, I'm unquestionably huge fan of Peter Lorre. Yes, let me see. Lucky sounds fun, though. I highly doubt people from Skywalker Ranch now. Yeah, I don't know who owns it or what their process is or whatever. Troublemaker. Yeah, I love the blues and greens, too, as well, I have to say. I do love blue and green. Let's see here. Finding it. What's important. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. Metamorphosis. What is the name of it was like Odette. Sorry, no, it was not Odette. Sorry, gosh. Mummy 19. Someone probably already has it in the chat, but I feel like I'm delayed here. Sometimes it's annoying. Dracula, Frankenstein, blah, blah, blah. Fritz Lang. I can't even find the name of it. Someone's gonna have to find that for me. Sorry, folks. I'm a dim bulb. But yes, it's just a breathtaking character design. Let's see here. Yeah, Metamorphosis. Yeah, absolutely. Frankenstein's monster always starts a deep discussion about humanity. Yes, it does. And if you want to see a real, I heard someone, a guy who's doing a book for stuff for Two-Fisted Manly Tales, and is a writer on Bass Reeves with our king, David Williams, Brohawk, the man. What is up, Duart? Great to see you. I always pronounce his name wrong. Kevin Grievous, I think is his name. He played Ray's in the Underworld movies, and he also was the writer behind that. He talked about it, Frankenstein, and its importance, and he spoke about it very poetically, as you would imagine a writer does. I'm just remembering this guy with the fez, Benny from the new Mummy movies. Yes, Benny's pretty terrifying too. You're right. But yeah, he was. It wasn't Imhotep, which is what he was in the new movies. He had another name in that role. But yeah, absolutely. Comedy of Terrors, so great. Stars Vincent Price, Peter Lorre, and Boris Karloff. You know what's funny? I haven't seen that movie. So I haven't seen, and I've been dying to. I'm saving it for a rainy day. I need to check it out. And so I've got to see, hold on a second here. Let me go back here. The Mummy, 1932. He walks around as, okay, they say him as Imhotep, which was his name, but he had another name. He was pretending to be someone else. And that's what he's often referred to as. But yeah, I love that. Ardith Bay, thank you, Moromi, for the win. You've got it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Grievow. That's it. Grievow? Is that how you pronounce it? Shoot, guys. Me reading is... it's one of those things. It's a 50-50. Yes, Ardith Bay. And if you look at that makeup, what they did is they did this wash of a thin layer, almost like you did with glue as a kid, which is where I think that came from. And then when it dried, it caused this crazy ripply crackling effect. And I intend to do that in Nosfero with one of my characters. Well, I'm already doing it a little bit here on Amun al-Hazared. You can see he's got that great look, that great sort of, when I say great look, I don't mean complimenting the painting itself, but it is that Jack Pierce kind of wrinkled, drying quality, which I loved what he did there. You know what the real monster at Universal? Yes, it was the existence of the recent movie. That was rough. Well, that's what happens when people who like Marvel Comics and the Marvel Universe come in and decide to do Universal Monsters. They don't know anything about Universal Monsters. They're just trying to get to the Avengers. And it fails every single time. But then why would it work? I don't dabble in medicine or surgery. I have no skill there. It'd be a weird thing for someone to walk into an operating room and go, yeah, I'm going to scrub in. I've always wanted to see what I could do here. No. And inventing fantasy and drawing comics is a grind. It's hard. Reading is fundamental. You're absolutely right. John, so true. Get on it. Vincent Price is hilarious in Comedy of Terrors. I will absolutely get on. Henry Bemis, it's great to see you. A tip of the glasses to you, my friend. I can't believe that took me so long. I'm embarrassed. I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan. Of that episode, it is in my top. It's more one of my wife's favorite episodes, but it is up there, and I can't believe it took me that long to put that together. You know, that's one of the things I just love about it. It's great. Oh yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Back in the days when makeup artists had to invent techniques, right? And when people had permanent scarring, right, from those appliances. But no, you're right. What Jack Pierce did, what Lon Chaney Sr. did with the Phantom of the Opera and really everything. London, what is it? London at Midnight, I think it is. My brain is slowing. Sorry, guys, which doesn't have far to go. But I love this kind of stuff. I think I could do it. You're absolutely right. Yeah. I yelled hello. Yellow. You're right. That's good. I think I could do it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just scrub in, I say. They did a great job in Twilight Zone. Long live Walter Jameson, mostly just with different lighting to get an aging time-lapse effect before the makeup. Yes, I really liked oh gosh, I don't know what year it is. I can't say it's the original because I think that there were several before it. But I think it was in the 30s, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where they did the red-green color change to make it look like his face was changing in camera by just having the filters move. So good. So good. Yeah, basically like working on a car. No doubt. It is absolutely like, yeah. But it's funny you say that. It's the same thing. If you, my auto shop up the road, my friends up there, if I were to walk into their garage and say, yeah, I'm going to scrub in on this, on what you're doing right now, they'd be like, get out of here. You're going to get yourself killed. Nope. Yellow is pronounced as yellow. There you go. Yeah, good to see you as well. Absolutely, my friend. Let's see here. The point of reinventing or retelling a classic story or doing a story for classic characters is to get as close to the essence of the character or to the point of the character as possible. Well, here's the thing, guys. The key to retelling a story is having heard the story and having heard it maybe a few times. If you've never heard the story, you can't retell it. And that's the thing. It's a lot like revisionist history or revisionist storytelling. And that's the thing that you're seeing right now, right? So I actually think that because we have YouTube videos showing, you have to appreciate the character story itself or have to appreciate the history that led to where it is. Yeah, you have to have a little bit of reverence. And it helps to have reverence for this country. It helps to have reverence for capitalism and all it's done. It helps to have reference for who really defeated a certain evil group that had taken over much of Europe back in the early to mid 20th century, in a sense, in between there. Do you guys get what I mean? And that's important. Yeah. And loving the source as well. It's so true. It's so true. And I think about that too, is if you don't understand those basic things, or I should say, if we don't understand, if they don't understand, Jello is pronounced yellow. Jello, there's always room for Jello. And now I've got Cosby in my head again. Yeah, absolutely right, guys. And so it's easy. We talking about the God. No. Oh my gosh, you guys are killing me. I almost read that, but it's not going to happen. We're not talking about O.J. Simpson. So this is this is the thing. That was some of you guys will get that reference, I'm assuming. So this is the thing, right? For those of us who love comics, we talk about so many ridiculous things that I love them. They're my ridiculous things, in a sense, that it shouldn't be hard to figure out if somebody really wants to be there or not. For those of us who are married or have significant others in our lives, who have other hobbies and passions, how long does it take of a conversation? One of the greatest observations I think I ever heard Ethan make, and I just spit my drink out, because I actually do spit takes, and it's not good when you're an artist working in traditional media. And he said, I want there to be an experiment, a hidden camera experiment, where my wife goes up into a group of her friends while they're out at dinner and tries to shift the conversation and start talking about Star Wars, and see how long Andrea can keep the subject on Star Wars. And I died, because we all know it would be over. Like, they'd be like, what? Yeah, those are great. And move on. That is how long you have to keep people, or how short of a time you deny people fuel before they move on when they're not really into something. And it works for almost everything. It works for almost anything. And I'm amazed at that lesson is so difficult for people to learn. But it is. You have to learn it. If you don't, I guess everything you don't know is difficult, to learn. If you don't know how to do it, you have to start from somewhere. Everything. Oh God, I'm working off camera again. Dang it. Everything that I do that, I've had to learn how to do was difficult at a time, but it's an important thing to learn. Just all you got to do is pay attention. It doesn't mean you can't say, hey, welcome. It's great to have you here. But it's, we're going to always be great. That gatekeeping is not even letting somebody say hello. It's get out of here. You're this type of person. What we do here is we're like, hey, welcome. It's great to have you here. And then somebody says, I noticed you haven't let me on your platform yet. It's like, what? What are you talking about? I just met you, And it's like, or maybe I hadn't thought about it yet, but I will at some point. Did you want to be on there? Let me find some time. I've got things going on. And so it's not that hard. It's really not that hard to dodge, guys. It's a week. We can do it. We should feel absolutely confident we can do it if we just use basic horse sense, because nobody wants to get into this party. It's a lot of work and we love it. That's why we're here. No one can ever take a Heisman Trophy away. Oh my God. Yes, that's right. It's rough. Yeah, on top of another glass. That's right. I know that was. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's true. Thank you so much. Yeah, Henry, I appreciate that. This book is and this is something that another thing you really can't do here, and it's great that you can't do it here. False modesty and all that other stuff is not something you should do, nor is false arrogance. And for me, I always want, before I was really confident in what I was doing, I used to look at my artwork and feel like I either had to be falsely confident about it, or when people said they liked it, I was trying to be falsely modest because I didn't know if they were being sincere, because I didn't feel confident about it. But when you start doing the work, not how they mean, But when you start getting to a point where you can get your skills to where they are, you feel like when someone compliments you, they're with you in the work it takes to get there. Does that make sense? And so I thank you for your kind words. I really do. And I always think that one of the best things we can do when someone compliments us is to say thank you, because it's the only way that we internalize compliments. And I'm like a defensive boxer. I'm doing like the Philly shoulder roll when someone tries to compliment me. But when somebody compliments you and says, good job, always make sure you say thank you, because that's how that stuff affects you. So when I say to you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for making Nosfero fun. And thank you for helping to make it a continued success. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Apex Comics. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate God speaking. You guys are amazing. Yeah, Norm was the best. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's one of those things to where I love doing this stuff. You know, I love making this work, and I'm so grateful for you guys being here, because I was looking for people. Yes, absolutely right. I was looking for people who cared about comics. Do you know what I mean? I really love comics. I remember I'm embarrassed to say this, but this was when the economy was better. And I was working like crazy hours. I love Dave Stevens so much. I have 3 copies of the Rocketeer Artist Edition and the Artisan Edition, because it's a book I dreamed. I didn't even dream that people would make a book so amazing, because as one of my artist heroes, I had my nose as close as I could to the Rocketeer books, and to be able to sit there and look at his originals, much like going to Skywalker Ranch or any of that stuff, and feel as though I could imagine his hand drawing those pages. And I could imagine that, like, it was the closest thing to touching those originals you're ever going to get. And it really affected me. And so if I can put you guys right here, center stage, you know, the best seats in the house while I'm creating Nosfero, then that's the best thing I can do. You know, like that's what I want to make sure I can do. Let me see if I can make that happen. Blue, and then it's going to color correct. Just want to see if I can get that flicker down just a little bit, because I'm not a fan of that happening, but there's a lot of crazy light stuff going on from time to time here. So yeah, that's a huge thing for me when I'm working on this stuff, is trying to make sure that I pay that forward. You know, oh, massive Dave Stevens nerd. But you know what would be interesting, though, truly, is if Rocketeer could pass the Bechdel test. Do you know what I mean? Don't you feel like the Rocketeer is, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Live streaming is so humbling. Yes, it is very humbling and flustering. Shanth is allergic to fan air, but getting better. I am, yeah. It has to be worked on. Yeah. I remember I heard a Hollywood actor say that they had never gone to the Academy Awards when they were nominated for an award, even when they had won. And they asked them, why didn't you do it? And they said, because I'm a coward. And I loved that response. It's totally true. Oh, thank you, Admiral. I appreciate you. And you have been here since the start of this channel, and so many of you guys are here every single time I stream. I appreciate your like and subscribe, guys. As we head to 1,000 subscribers, we're almost to 900 subscribers. That's because you guys are there. You guys are making this stuff happen, and I appreciate. Yeah, and we'll make sure of that, because there's going to be, the second print run is not going to be as cheap as this one's going to be. That's for sure. And I reward the people who get on early, like you guys. You're awesome, and that's important. Yeah, I'm a huge Dave Stevens nerd. You guys, you don't even know. There's no shame for that. I would buy as many copies of this book. Yeah, I love, he got me thinking about reference and drawing better in a way that I had never, it just had never, whoops, sorry guys, let me move this. Oh, that might be a part of the problem. It had never dawned on me that you could draw so beautifully, so well, that accuracy could be so beautiful in the aesthetics. The way that he drew Betty, the way that he drew the airplanes. I got a lifelong love of prop planes from that. Just a great artist. Love his stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing a female Rocketeer in a type. Exactly. Well, you know. Well, we've got that, right? Someone in Comicsgate's probably working on that. Does it feel like Patrick Swayze holding your hands as you... Yes, absolutely. Draw like Whoopi Goldberg in the movie Ghost when I'm holding clay. Oh, my love. There you go. Let's see. There's no shame for that. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Absolutely. Let me see where we are here. Shot Down in Flames. It's great to see you. Tip of the hat. Shot Down in Flames. Rocketeer Complete Series by IDW has computer coloring. Very dark. Loses its great line work. Fortunately, I have 4 copies of the original as well. I love it. I have a buddy who has Dave Stevens' original art. He bought it back in the day for a pittance. Stevens is, yeah, don't worry, Henry. I know what you meant. I can't even imagine. There's certain people who are majestic with their brushwork. And I really do hope that, as brush inking and that brush style, continues to be something that's practiced in this art form, because I think you can really do it breathtakingly on the Cintiqs, the Wacoms, the iPad Pros, if you have whatever you need, particularly on iPad Pros I've found. But there's this graceful long line, this beautiful quality to brush, and in traditional ink, by the way, that I just love. And I want to see that continue. What Dave Stevens does with ink. Hang on a second, folks. Because I'm never too far from Dave Stevens ever. It is what it is. Dave Stevens. I want to show a page that you guys all know well, I'm sure. Actually, let me see if I can find, because he had a lot of he got better as he went on, and he was always good. But I want to see if I can find, where is it? Is it here? Yeah, here it is. Take a look. Why am I showing this while I'm working? This is depressing. But take a look at the brushwork in that hair. Look at the cars. Look at the figure. Let me see if I can get close enough to where you can see those little hatch lines. How beautiful is Dave Stevens' artwork? I love ink work so much. And I know Stephen Rockwood does too, and so many of you guys do. He's always with you in your heart. Yeah, he signed a postcard to me. He was a nice dude. Yeah, Bechdel is stupid, but I suppose it's like a sci-fi novelist friend passed it without trying because they're writing plots. Yeah, here's the interesting thing about it too, is that the person who came up with that test, their favorite show was Sex and the City, which is a show almost exclusively dedicated to women sitting around talking about men. So even she thought it was somewhat ridiculous. And there's a reason for it, right? There's a reason why you don't see that often in stories, is because and this is something I've often thought about when it comes to movies, which women have always, historically at least, driven what movies people go to see, household income, and all of that stuff, certainly in recent times, up until now, I would say. So it was all about putting on screen what they wanted to see, which is why the Marvel universe is all buff, ripped guys. So there's something about, like, how do I word it? I don't want to buy things that are of me, because that's weird. They're called mirrors. I want to buy stuff that's what I long for and what I want to see, right? And so that's what's so interesting, Yeah, his work is, what are you going to do? I mean, he's a genius. He's a genius, but on a bizarre level. But when I watch Ethan do his pen and ink work, or if I watch, Kenneth Rocafort do magic, any of us doing this kind of crazy stuff that we do, I love seeing different artists just bringing it and doing really cool stuff. And that's what we do. When you back Nosfero, guys, it's going to take you back to that stuff, that level of high craft in work that we've always been, as an art form we've been doing. And it was when people say, well, people can't even do that kind of work anymore. No, they can do that kind of work. They're just being screened so that people who can't draw don't have anything to have their work compared to. But we took care of that here. We're keeping this fun. You've got to sell comics. You've got to make stuff that's fun and entertaining and all of that stuff. And there's so many different styles of books that are incredibly skilled and brilliant in CG. I think of Rich Ayala's work, which I'm a big fan of. When he showed me the flip through on stream, I thought that looked great. I love Narwhal stuff. You guys know that. He's a friend and a Nosfero bro, as it were. I love that stuff. And there's so much skill in work, and there's so much in whatever we do. But when I look at, the rendering that Ethan does, or the unbelievable rendering that Dale Keown does as well. They're both unbelievable, let me be clear. Or the sense of play and joy in Kenneth Roquefort's work and genius and mastery of this stuff, it can exist here. And the second that can't exist here anymore is the second that I need to be someplace else because I love that stuff. Let's see here. Like boobs. Absolutely right. Time will test. Yeah, absolutely. Time will test out the chaff. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Separates the wheat from the chaff. SJWs think it's all buff guys because guys want to see that. Isn't that funny? Yeah. That is, I used to tell this joke all the time. And I said, and I can't even overstate how this always cracks me up, but maybe you guys will tell it and you'll feel, and the joke will continue. So here you go. When people started saying painting all of these breathtaking, beautiful, half-naked, women is about misogyny, men hating women, which is, again, it's fascinating BS concept that doesn't last one question. But here's how it works. If someone were to come over to my house and all over the wall, there were paintings of half-naked men in various provocative poses, and they were to come over to my house, and on every wall, I was sitting there with my wife and kids. They were like, oh, yeah, these are Sean's paintings. Look at all this stuff. Would your natural thought be, wow, Sean hates men? Or would it be something else? So the fact that people can, or if you came over to my house, and this is actually the truth, and you saw all of these paintings of waffles surrounding me, would you go, wow, he's got a lot of waffles on the wall. He must hate waffles. It is the most ridiculous logic, and it has to be ridiculous and people have to be utterly illogical for them to go with it. It's so funny. Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't hate it. But it's certainly not something that, that you could argue it's like, oh, that's what we tend to be drawn to as a rule. It's not. Yeah, he really hates those waffles. My thought would be, Sean has a secret. He has it. That is exactly the point. You've got it. That is exactly the point of that. Why do you hate waffles, Sean? His show's called The Waffle Lodge because he hates waffles. And it's a funny thing. It's a very funny thing. It is, you have to be absolutely turn your brain off to have that opinion. I've often asked this question, when is there going to be and I don't care, this is a boring question, but this is one of their questions just inverted. When are you going to see a Marvel movie where you've got this one guy, this one attractive guy, surrounded by all of these beautiful, sexy women competing for his attention? Like, when is a guy going to have multiple options in a movie? Never, because it ain't about us. You will never see a guy torn between two extremely, like Twilight, all of these stories. You're not going to see a story where a guy's like, which one of these two beautiful women do I want? There's going to be like 20 guys and one woman to choose from. It's like, good luck. Stop the waffle hate. Absolutely right. Let's hashtag it. Yeah, man, Mrs. Sanjetti should get a good divorce attorney. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that would be an absolutely logical thing. Shanth is waffleist. It's true. It's absolutely true. But yeah, think about that sometime. Yeah, watch the Blade trilogy last week again because I really hate Black Vampire Hunters. I love Blade so much. You guys know that. Yeah, justice for waffles. John says hashtag justice for waffles. Men are disposable. That's right. It's totally. That's dark, but yeah, I mean, it's a part of it, right? But you're not going to see that in a movie. And that's something that is as much for the audience as it is for everyone else. Where are those options? Even we're like going, yeah, it's very odd. Maybe it's cultural, but it's the way it is for me anyway, is where like there's one, we talked about this when we were talking about on Gabe's channel about Groundhog Day, that we were talking about it. And we said that Andy McDowell in that movie is a symbol of feminine and female perfection for Bill Murray. And he's courting perfection. And we know nobody else will do because she is the one. Whereas choice is much more a part of the mythologies and stories that are written for women, because that is a very important choice. I think choice is important for guys, but it's usually, and there's elements of that probably in Nosfero, in its mythos anyway, even if it's not shown in the comic book, that is we have to learn how to spot Amber Heard, I guess is the best way I would put it. And I had a friend who had one of my favorite quotes of all time, which would apply in that situation. He said, yeah, usually a fellow will date a gal like that once or twice, then he'll learn how to spot them. And clearly Johnny never learned how to spot them. It's rough. I always wanted to be surrounded by a bevy of beautiful women. What is a bevy anyway? We wouldn't know because we've never seen one. Exception would be anime. Yes. Well, of course. Julie Pascal, you bring up something interesting. How is the anime and manga industry doing, by the by? And there you have it. Yep. Yeah, if there's a story that can be told, it's being told in anime. That's the way it is. You know, it's being told in manga. Henry Beavis is what you drive a Chevy to, right? Yeah, that's exactly right. A bevy is... You're killing me. He spent too much... Oh my gosh. Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. He did. I will have an actual Jonathan Jetty art painting one day. You will. You absolutely will. I believe in that dream, 80s made consumer. I believe in that dream. Because there is something really great, you know, now that all the head sketches are sold, you know, it's amazing, and I'm thrilled by that. But it is, I will tell you this, guys, there's nothing like having a piece of original artwork, because you can just see it's the most, when you get a book, it's the same thing. Physical copy of a book, it's a big manifestation of somebody's hard work and time put into something. This is that on a much more focused and intense level when you buy an original. And that's what it is. I'm not reading that aloud, but I'm going to share it because it's great. We've got some parents in the audience on this fine Sunday. My timing is always rough on this. I'm pretty good at spotting them, or he has very low self-esteem. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't feel well, of course. Yeah, he described. I mean, when I heard that bit in the trial where he goes, I married my mother, I was like, oof. I was like, oh man. Yeah. It's you guys, sometimes I'll read your comments and I'll laugh about them a second later because I've got so much on my mind. It's a way homer for me. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing, right? Is that when people having, you know, fulfilled 2 art books on Indiegogo, and I wanted to make sure I did that before I waded, you know, into doing a According to Hoyle CG book, because I wanted to make sure that people would have some confidence that I've done this before. But, you know, you have to, that's the great thing about what we do. You get better at looking at campaigns and saying, all right, this person's going to deliver, you know, this person is going to get their work done. And that's why it's so hard to recover when you don't do that. You know, it's, and I mean, like, in a big way. I'm not talking about late on one campaign. I'm talking about you come out of the gates and you don't get your stuff out like for years. It's like, how could people ever get back to that place? And, you know, it's true with everything. It's true with everything. It's true with people. Like when I see somebody I know delight in destroying somebody's life online in an internet mob, I can't unsee that. You know, that's not something that I can just kind of go, oh, well, this person wouldn't do that if they had the chance with me, if it suited their sensibilities. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what this person's into. There you go. It doesn't matter if it's someone I like or don't like, they're doing it too. That's not the point. I don't like the attitude, and I don't like the process. And yeah, people who keep their promises and draw and get things done, you know, it's like, is everybody perfect? No, I'm certainly not, but we get it done, you know, and that's something that builds what we have here. And that's what's so great about it. Yeah. Oh, I got a few John Byrne originals. Yeah. There's some people who would love that. Rob Liefeld included. Yeah. That's sad. Yeah, it is sad. When he said that, I was like, oof, I felt that one. I struggled about getting the painted sketch or not, but so excited that I did. Absolutely. Julie, it's going to be beautiful. I will make sure that you have a brilliant work of art. And I know it is. Guys, it's a lot of money, and it is rewarded with a lot of time. You know, when I do those, I want to make something beautiful for you guys. And I think most artists I found tend to be like that, but that's right. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. You're right. Let's see here. Yeah, you're totally right. People who don't have a purpose in life can and will do anything to satisfy their own. Yeah, exactly. Well, this is the thing, right? Is that I've found that doing kind things for other people you can't ever, and nor would you probably want to try to, like, do anything with the sense of, I'm going to get something back from this. I don't know if that is ever a good idea. But if in the doing of it, in the helping somebody, out, or to have an easier day, if to the extent that you can do so while still taking care of the things you are supposed to be getting done, it's a very, funny enough, it's a very empowering thing, way more empowering than tearing somebody down. And when I see people, come into streams and come into chats, like, think about, I don't know, man. I think about sometimes, like, how nice it must have been for Shane and Yanzi to see so many people excited that they were having a baby, and about the baby photos and all that stuff. It's nice because, I mean, I'm sure, you're getting your work done on your comics. You're a new parent. You're tired. You've got all this stuff going on. And to see people that, are there saying, hey, congratulations. Oh my gosh, that's such a cute picture. And we're so happy for you guys. I mean, is that ever something that that is lost on a good person? I don't think so. I mean, I remember when saying to my wife, and I don't know if I ever even said this, obviously online, because I don't think I was talking about this kind of thing online. But when I saw that Ethan talking about him getting a new house, I know I've been this way with my brother-in-law, but when I saw Ethan talking about, getting a new house, and it was their dream house, and the couple that sold them the house. Sorry, I have a brain that remembers a lot of stuff. Yeah, you guys know, it is what it is. There's various terms for that. But when I saw that, I was really happy for him, having watched all of the adversity he faced, the things that he went through. I mean, all of us are here, walking away from a career I loved. The teaching part of it, not the bureaucracy and the other stuff, was incredibly difficult. But what I got into it for was to help people and make them, empower them with the learning of skills. I did not get into it to teach them that they were victims. I did not get into it to teach bigotry. I did not get into it to teach Marxist theory. That's not why I got involved in it. And so when that was time to be out of it, I was out of it, because it was wrong. Often those who find, yeah, exactly. You're right, John. Those who find nothing greater themselves. Henry Bemis says, one thing that we've learned in the social media age is that sadism is a fairly common character trait. Yeah. Well, anybody, right? I mean, if you see young kids hanging out together, like in a preschool or whatever, or even, we had twins, you'd be surprised at how much, like, if you're being ignored, doing something to irritate is a great and quick way to get attention. The problem is you end up being alone in the end. And so we're watching the first run of social media where people are trying to irritate others into the limelight. And the problem is that when that comes back around, what they should have learned when they were children is eventually you're going to find yourself without anybody around you, because no one wants to put up with you. People have seen what you do. They know your game. And they're like, I'm not going to waste my time with somebody who lives to annoy me until I pay attention to them. It just doesn't work that way. And I see, and that's something that throughout, the history of pop culture, I don't know that we've ever produced a successful era in culture or society where that was the case, where we rewarded people annoying others for attention. It's very strange. They don't have good moral lines, blah blah. Your standard self-satisfaction. Yeah, well, it's a compulsion. Yeah, it's, if you don't have anything that you're aiming for, you're going somewhere, right? But if you have something that is hollow inside of you, what are you going to do? You're going to make other miserable people like other people to be miserable, and they like to ruin other people's fun, right? So that's kind of what they have to do, but it's a choice. You actually can keep that kind of person out of your life if you want to. I mean, they try to fight their way in, but it is, yeah, yep, and narcissism. You're right. It was done in it was a perfect combination of what they were teaching in the schools, which is everybody is great and special and the center, and we have to stop for everybody's thought and opinion. And then you got online and it backed that up. It was a flash in the pan in the arc of history, And it was something that a power that a lot of people are have not experienced as of yet, the backlash of for just, getting into a mob. And like I said, I think the pendulum is swinging. The worm has turned. I wouldn't know anything about that. Guys cracking me up. Yep, I'm 1 semester out of academia, professor, instructor for 18 years. Yep, same way. It's yes, it is. It is. It was very, and it's like a detox when you get out of it. Henry was all roads which seem exciting but end in sadness. Yeah, it does. Absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, well, Chris Rock had a funny thing where he said, he's like, a good relationship isn't exciting. He goes, a bad relationship's exciting. It goes, so yeah, if you want an exciting relationship, it's like there's nothing more exciting than a bad one. It always cracked me up. Let's see here. Happy Sunday to you, Jeremy. Good to see you, Lord Crackhead 33. I was looking at my phone, and anytime you've sent me a text, it says from Lord Crackhead 33, and I said that's the best thing to see on your phone, man. That is one of the best things ever. Yeah, miserable people bought Star Wars. You're absolutely right. People who saw people having fun with something they didn't understand and felt embarrassed for, like they felt vicariously embarrassed. Why are you having fun with that? Don't you see how stupid it is? I know. I'll show you. That's like people who can't stand that people love America, love this country, and are grateful. Even immigrants who've come from difficult situations out of authoritarian, communist, socialist countries. These people are like, why do you like it? It's so dumb. I feel embarrassed that you can unabashedly love and feel pride in things. So I have to ruin it so you can't feel that way because how you feel makes me uncomfortable. It is weird. Very weird. Yeah, everybody bow. Indeed, Lord Crackhead 33. Everybody is perfect, and you can never ever find a fault with anything that anyone does unless you have, yes, exactly. When in reality, you should be told that everybody has real fault. Well, yeah, you have to know what you're doing is not going to be, that you can't just behave and act however you want to without consequences, both short-term and long-term. And by the way, let's talk about that. When people talk about what is up, Wolfie, by the way, again, bow indeed, A's Made Consumer, you look like you have a secret in that avatar, but yes, he does. The secret is he has a great channel that just crossed 100 subscribers. All of you guys who have channels, feel free to let us know in the chat here. But this is the thing, right? For me, when we're talking about this stuff, which is when people talk about consequences and consequence, that's not what we're talking about. It's like early, childhood development, learning that there are consequences, which is to say, if you do something positive, if you make positive work, that builds consequences. Like how you treat people over time creates longer term rich rewards. But that with certain things that are not even remotely subjective, like math, with hell, even art skill is not subjective, or art ability or creative ability, because unless it's artificially inflated, much like comedy, it's either funny or it's not. It's either beautiful, inspiring, or it's not. Do you guys know what I mean? And so it doesn't get realer than that. It doesn't, it's like there's no roadmap. It just is. And so one of the things that I'm very grateful for is I was submitting and sending comic book stuff out and I have not as many as Todd does, but I have tons of rejection letters from Marvel and DC Comics. I got my first rejection letter in comics when I was 11 or 12. And it taught me that if I wanted to improve and get a job in comics, I would have to work hard. If I stopped doing things every single time that someone questioned my ability to do it, I would never have done anything I'm doing right now. It's good to be questioned when you're young, whether or not you have the ability to do the things you do, and to prove whether you can or can't do said things. That is a sign of respect when people make you earn what you say you can do and can't do. And when I went to do this, guys, much like Gabe, we've all talked about this stuff, and everybody in CG, you don't know if your book's going to fund. When you launch that stuff, hey, what is up, Soul Curie Art? It's good to see alt. Sorry, it is. I always want to read that as art. But it's a great feeling to learn that stuff about yourself. It might be because they see people who are enjoying more. Yes, and it shows they're not happy. You're right. Guys, yeah, I think it looks smug. No, I think you got a secret. It looks good, man. It looks good. Let's see here. Come for the diaphanous nightgown, stay for the life lessons. Oh no. Yes, I agree. Absolutely. The first one for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hashtag you guys are awesome. Hashtag diaphanous. Yeah. Hail John. Everybody's saying hello, guys. But you know what I mean? You're right. I mean, it's it's a great thing to learn what your limits are, how you can, like when people compliment, you know, children on their behavior and how easy they are to be around, how kind they are, how sweet they are, but also that they, you know, if you have integrity and some personal strength too, because you can't just waffle, you know, you have to have, you know, some strength to be able to be determined and, you know, self-reliant, I should say, not so much self-determined when you're a minor, but you get the idea. It is great to see and people compliment, but that stuff is learned. And when we started saying, like, let me phrase it this way, that you have to have some respect. This happened with Kurosawa. This happened with so many artists. You have to have respect for the masters of the craft that came before you. And Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas and all of those guys, unlike a lot of their contemporaries, tried to help people like Orson Welles and did help people like Akira Kurosawa get their work made because they said these guys are masters of their craft. And we have to, like, this is important. Why are we throwing them aside? And it was easy that anything great had to be mocked in the 60s, in the period they were coming out of. And everybody who was over a certain age as an artist was a has-been and all that stuff. So it's the job of the business, or it's the job of and I will use the word, because why should they get to have every word? The real community, not the perverse version they do, to tell people, I'm sorry, you're attacking Ethan Van Sciver. He created the Green Lantern emotional spectrum. He has made this company millions and millions of dollars. Who are you to question this person? He's put the time in. That's it. That's the job, you know? Hail, General Piggy. It's great to see you, you know? And people should know what you did and pay attention to it. Like, this guy's put time in and worked. Yeah. That and Laconic Malin was using Shane's drawing talking streams. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Laconic. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I always love when Kevin Costner used that word to describe his character in Open Range, you know, the classic laconic, you know, Western character, cowboy. Love that stuff. But it's one of those things, you know, when we're looking at this stuff. Greetings. John, thanks. I paid for someone to make me into a gorilla for my avatar. I use it on my live streams, but it's not exactly right. There you go. Well, you know me, I'm a gorilla artist, so hit me up. When Kurosawa was coming up in Japan, you would have to be an AD for 7 to 15 years. Very well put. Before you could direct. So all the directors were pros. You're absolutely right. And they made the talent work. And earning things is what it's about, guys. Why does the teacher get to talk? Well, because the teacher has the degrees you're trying to get. Whether you think that's a worthwhile educational decision is utterly correct. But when you go into that situation, you shouldn't be asking yourself. And there was a great episode of Louis' show, Louis C.K.'s show, where he takes down a heckler and he says, no, like, you're here to listen. You're not here to participate when he's doing his stand-up, not because of his power position or whatever else, because other people in the room paid to be here besides you. It's so obvious. So it's true at college. As much as, you know, someone with, you know, none of the requirements you have to jump through to be a college teacher is sharing their opinion, other people paid a ton of money to be here. If you're not an expert, you're taking their time. And I remember saying to my students one time, I said, guys, it's a piece of cake. I would absolutely, you know, if you guys want to talk and run the classroom, it's great. I'll get paid either way. But you should think about what you're paying for at that point. It's not rocket science, you know. Dark's not yet. Kurosawa, absolutely. Yes. Everybody's saying hello. Hey, Scottsley, it's good to see you, by the way. It sounds cool. I'm sure you'll find the right one. Yeah, absolutely. You will. You absolutely will. Looks like I'm late. Any waffles left? There are always waffles for you, Scottsley. We always keep a waffle in the baker for you, my friend. Hail to you, my friend, and hail to the chat. Yeah, guys. I mean, I like the idea that I've always been susceptible, at least I will say that, and I think it's a good thing, to acknowledging what the people who've come before us and what they've created, whether it's Winsor McKay, Jack Kirby, Osamu Tezuka, Akira Kurosawa, any of the greats in any field of endeavor, Carl Laemmle Sr., Carl Laemmle Jr., the people behind the Universal Monsters, Jack Pierce, Will Eisner, oh my gosh, so many people. I'm blanking on everybody's name right now because I started doing names. But when it comes to CG, yeah, the people who figured out, okay, we're going to have to go to Indiegogo, the people who are actually booted from Kickstarter, the people who, built an audience or brought their audience to us, guys. How great is that? It's like Dale Keown, coming here is great, and all of that stuff is awesome. But it's just as an aside, I go back to Ethan, and what he did and growing CG and getting this huge audience base. And I feel a responsibility, guys, to bring more people into streams and chats talking about the stuff that I'm passionate about, so that we can grow this audience. Like, it's not just it's not on one person's shoulders. And so that's the thing that I always am going to feel as though there's a responsibility there. And that comes from the respect and the reverence I have for how hard it was for us to get to this point. It was not easy. It was not, it was never guaranteed. It was all of you guys who back books and everybody who was there, because it's not possible unless we're all just, working hard and taking care of this thing from its infancy. And a lot of you guys who've been here, from that time period know what I mean. It took a whole lot of trying just to get up this hill. But now we're up in the big leagues, taking our turn at bat. As long as we live, it's you and me, baby. There ain't nothing wrong with that, because we're moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. We're moving on up to the east side. We finally got a piece of the pie. I had to say it. It's got to happen sometimes, guys. Hey, General, everybody's saying hello, hello, hello. A person doing what you want to do is immensely more valuable than someone telling you what to do. You are absolutely right. Devil Flyer Momentum, it is great to see you. You got to have fun, folks. It's important. It's important. Very, very true. Devil Flyer Momentum, Big Boy Pants. Those words awfully familiar. Moving on up. God, I loved those shows. All those shows. Yeah, to the east side in the sky. That's right. Gotta love it. Yeah, what else are we doing? Pie. Ethan finally got a piece of the pie. That was horrible, but thank you for being here. Wolf E, I almost read that. Waffle E, building the new counterculture. Yeah, the parallel economy, it's all of it. Yes, absolutely. Step by step, day by day. I can't go there. I can't do the whole song. Moving on up. That's absolutely right, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's Lord Ravener's like, dang it, Sean. That's that, guys. Those of you guys who know that song, appreciate it. It'll be in your head all day, and you can curse me later for that. But yeah, I mean, this was not built in a day. We're 5 years into it, and we've got to raise our game. And we don't have the luxury of not working hard and not getting it done, and it's and yeah, there's going to be difficulties, but I would say for an independent movement, we, in terms of doing work and all of this kind of stuff and building a customer base without any of the industry stuff, like Image had Diamond Comics, and they also had a section, in the front of the book, and it's like we were, building things, or I shouldn't say we, because I was backing books, super important. But we were making this stuff happen without any of that. We were creating something new, and it's got to be appreciated, guys. I appreciate you guys so much, man. It's man, I always say that whenever I'm whenever I'm thinking. Okay, let's see. Scottsley. Next song, yeah, theme from Good Times. Oh my gosh, yeah. I saw that show when I was so young. I always sing the lyrics wrong. I don't know if you guys know this, when you sing lyrics wrong because you heard the song as a kid and you've sung it wrong forever, you know? So it was like, shoot, I always forget the first line from that. I know the Ain't We Lucky We Got 'Em Good Times, but it was, making your way when you can, temporary layoffs, good times. Is it Easy Cradle ripoffs, good times, scratching and surviving? Someone has to let me know what the lyrics are. I probably got them wrong. Anyway, I love that show, by the way. Loved it. Sean, did you see RJ's The Fourth Age last video? He was sharing about teal. Oh, very cool. And some other color and the relation to sunsets and sunrises. Yes, I do know that relation, but that is awesome. I will absolutely have to check that out. I love when people talk about color theory. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's Hail Apex. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's saying hello. It's kind of funny but true that nerds are the new punk. It's totally true. Yeah. Hey Lord Ravener says Devil Flyer. Razor game, good to be clean shaven. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Hail Scottsley. Everybody's saying hello. Hanging in a jury. There you go. Yeah. Oh boy. Let's see here. There you go. Standing in a chow line. There you go. Look at you guys. Easy credit ripoffs. That's what it was. Easy credit ripoffs. See, I told you. I said in good times indeed, General. Yeah, making my way downtown, walking fast paces, and I'm homebound. There you go. Like, okay, how many of those TV theme songs are classics? Like, it's funny. 80s Made Consumer was talking about what happens to a generation that grows up with uninspired, uncreative, weak, copy paste culture of without the originality of those hand painted movie posters, of those handcrafted comic books by stories that aren't created by committee, by, there was toy packaging that is iconic to so many of us. I'm thinking about one of the trading cards being Nosfero on the back of Phantomas, and it being inspired by the painting, the beautiful painting of He-Man on the back of Battle Cat on the old Masters of the Universe toys. Like, that's how good that stuff was. How many TV theme songs do we have that were so well written and so iconic? I mean, there's some great stuff out there. Yeah, we've got to raise our game. Yes, there you go, John. Listen, my brain can only do so much. It's doing its best. It's the gerbil in the wheel is running as fast as it can in my brain. Yeah, they're etched into my soul. They absolutely are. Temporary layoffs, good times. Yes. And it was the idea of, that kind of perseverance and all of that stuff was huge. And I love that, while all that stuff is great, and that was kind of the late 70s, early 80s mentality, I have to tell you, what I really do appreciate now is Thriller, is a music video that showed us, and is Star Wars in the 70s, and Spielberg with E.T., all of that entertainment that came out and said, we've leveled up. We can dream with bigger scope. The technology is there and the ideas are there, and I love that. And that's exactly what we're saying to comics. And we've learned it. Manga's been saying it for a while, which is we can dream bigger. There's a bigger canvas, no pun intended, for doing this work. And we're going to do it. We're going to make that stuff happen. Speaking of which, because I did see Phil popping in and out of here and saying hello. And actually, I think that's what I'm going to do here. Hang on a second, guys. Let me do this. Gosh, I feel old as dirt. Let me see here. But it's one of those things where if you took a drink every time I say it's one of those things, you'd be dead in a minute. It's the way it is. But this is the thing, right? There it is. Oh, God help me. Hey, what's up, Gigabucks? Good to see you, my friend. Let's see here. Look at this. Money for nothing and your chips for free. That's right. I probably sang that version. I'm thinking of the Get Smart intro, the Green Acres. Green Acres is the place to be. Little House on the Prairie. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Every time you go away, you take a piece. That is rough. That is rough stuff there, guys. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Lord Crackhead, I dropped it in the Waffle Lodge green room if you feel like popping in and saying, hey, because for any of my Waffle Lodgers. Yeah, dare to believe indeed, guys. You will believe a man can fly. It's yeah, Thunder Chief. There you go, guys. Listen, and when we're doing this stuff and we're looking at this and we're putting this stuff together. Oh, I know what we're talking about. We're talking about immaculate reality, guys. We're talking about art and painting and inspiration. So when I've been working on this piece right here, let me zoom way out because this is a big, big painting. It's the stuff that I'm doing, and now the light's going haywire because it is too far away. Let's move this up here. I'm going to turn. Gosh, I can't believe it's doing that. Hang on a second. It's probably the angle of the light. But when you're looking at, that is really annoying. Hang on a second here. See if I can get, it must be the frame rate on this. But when you're looking at this, put the light on it. There we go. When you're looking at this, one of the things that you are going to start to see is the detail that is going in to the eel, the detail that is going into the shark eye, but even into the coral, even into the way the light hits the seaweed. And it starts to kind of ripple over and turn in the space. As we look here and we see the parrotfish, as we see Monstro, the diving character, that's the stuff that is going to really make this stuff happen. And yeah, I know you love that mask, man. I know you love that. That's just how we do it, you know? That's how we do it. But that's the stuff that, for me, is what makes it exciting, what makes it, yeah, it is the Coppertone commercial, what makes it so fun. And it's doing things like the scuba gear, all of that stuff. When somebody, you know, commissions me to do work, and you guys know this, and some of you guys have, when somebody commissions me to do work, what they're commissioning me to do is to pin, you know, so to speak, pin a dream to the paper and to share something that is magical. And for your money, you should be getting, you know, a book of dreams, for lack of a better way of putting it. Now I'm seeing that old lady from Titanic. I apologize. But they called it the Book of Dreams, and it was. But when I see certain members of our chat who know who they are saying, hey, I just noticed, is his finger chopped off on that side? You bet it is. Good eye. So let me ask you guys a question. I'm a magical dream weaver, Sean, 2022. I would buy a shirt of that print. Phil, if you're listening, take my money. Yeah, Phil, come on, man. Yeah, don't worry. Phil is ready to work. Random McGranderson, I just saw you pop in. The parrotfish is the best. Thank you, Random McGranderson. I appreciate it. Yeah, Coppertone commercial. Indeed. The detail in that mask. Yeah, Phil, if you're listening, you can pop on in here too. The Waffle Lodge, the link to the streams in the Waffle Lodge green room. Yeah. My chance will go on. Thank you. Yeah, the helmet is, I had a lot of fun on that. Looked at an old naval video on Navy video, not a naval video. Although that might have helped me paint the naval. But an old Navy video on the procedures for diving masks and how to put them on and how to clean the lenses so that I could get a sense of how those masks work. Even though it is fantasy, it's important. Know who they are. Wasn't me. I didn't do it. Yeah, I suspect that you did. But this is the thing, right? When you look at this, you go, he's missing a ring on his finger. And then when you look at the origin of Nosfero, and let me see if I can grab this page here. When you look at the origin of Nosfero, and you can see that the man who he was enslaved and kidnapped by has a ring on his finger, on that finger, to be precise. And then when you see after Nosfero escapes his imprisonment with these folks, you'll notice that he has the ring of that character on his finger. That's what I mean when I say when you back Nosfero, you guys are getting something that is a visually rich world and where things that you see in it have purpose and tell stories. That these things aren't arbitrary artifacts of pulp residue from the many things that I'm referencing, although it is that too. But it's all got to come together. Yeah, well, there's never been a force of evil that's had a finger severed and a powerful ring taken before in fiction. So I'm an originator. What is up, Sumo Thori? It is great to see you. Yeah. It was sort of funny too, because as that stuff, thank you, Tarks9. I appreciate that. Tip of the hat, my friend. I appreciate it. I suddenly heard Spaceballs playing in my head. Are you taking commissions right now on singularly focused on Nosfero right now? My commissions are limited. If someone hiring me to do a cover and they're CG, I am doing commissions, but I am very much the center of everything I do is Nosfero right now. That not even right now. I mean, it is. I'm thinking about where this goes, and where the stories go. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys for that. I thought you just gave him a bigger space between his fingers. I'm glad it was pre-planned. Yeah, it is. It is, of course, right? Did he lose it? Yes, he did. Yeah. I'm going to be introducing Amber Heard in one of the future issues because I need a more frightening villain. Do you have good attention? You do have good attention to detail. Yeah, you got to. You got to keep a lot of stuff. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yes, of course, right? Of course. You just sold me on Nosfero too. And by the way, that was planned too. Think about it. I'm hugely influenced by Nosferatu. So the sequel for this book, Nosferatu. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this book is serious, guys. It's got some fun stuff. In fact, you might be the first to use magical rings. Yeah, that's right. No one's ever used rings of power, magical rings, that kind of thing. Yes, that's right. Eudora's Shot's middle name. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, it's funny too, because you look at this stuff and you look at the work and you put this stuff together, and it's fantasy is, the ring thing to me is a huge part of pulp, whether it's the shadow or it's the Phantom or any of these characters. That's a huge part of it. And I thought, wow. And by the way, guys, everybody like and subscribe. Make sure you've liked this video. It does help in the algorithm. It does help us to get more eyes out there on Comicsgate, which is why I love playing those trailers so much. And getting the word out about everybody's books, including my own, by the way. Nosfero, link in the description. But fantasy builds upon fantasy, and it's and we're all referencing, or pulling from the kind of the great stuff, whether it's the Mahabharata influencing Lord of the Rings and Beowulf for that matter as well. That's the stuff. Those are the epics, the classics that inspire everything. And so I'm always thinking about that, how important that stuff can be. Yeah, that's right. I know that's pretty scary. Yeah. That was scary stuff. Yeah. More frightening. You're right. I know. Rings of power, like green. Yes. Thank you. You get it. You get it, guys. We've been doing this stuff. That's right. Thank you, 80s Made Consumer. You guys are the best. Guys, think about that for a minute too, how cool that is. That was a throwback to pulp. The idea of power rings was a throwback to the origins, and it was very recent history. People are like, what if we created a character who had a powerful ring? Like that's what's so great about it. All this stuff that we do becomes a part of the imagination vocabulary, and it goes beyond politics to the human condition. And that's what it is. That's what we're after. Yeah. All I learned about Beowulf is Admiral. Tip of the hat, brother. Much love. Someone commissioned the Golgothan demon from Dogma. And yes, absolutely. Yes. That is scary. Clifford the Big Red Dog. That's right. Thomas the Tank Engine. Other classics. Well, it's actually, it's true. Skip Edwards Art. Good to see you. How are you doing this fine Sunday? It is great to see you. Yes. Yeah, you guys. 31 likes. Thank you guys for backing all this stuff. I do appreciate it. We are getting there. You guys are moving this stuff forward in a major way. Really. We're almost to 900 subscribers on this channel. We're almost to the 25K where I'm going to be able to do those trading cards, which I'm so excited about. It's so great. So what you're saying is EVS revolutionized pulp storytelling with Green Lantern Rebirth. He actually, he did. And what's even scarier is that even though it wasn't, from all I know, it wasn't a direct influence or anything. He made the Green Lantern as expansive through just his sheer creativity as what Tolkien did with Lord of the Rings. He deepened the mythos of Green Lantern. This is the thing, guys, and this is it, right? Is that if you are a young artist coming into DC Comics and you're told you can disrespect a person who of that level, and that person would have to explain that to you, then you don't need to be in that environment if you're that creative and brilliant. And guys, by the way, it's not just with Green Lantern. He is really kind of blown out and made way more expansive. And I'd like to think that if there's anything positive out of his creativity that he got to exercise in Green Lantern, he's done the same thing with Cyberfrog. Cyberfrog's scope has gotten, to me at least, as a new reader of Cyberfrog, the scope is night and day different. I mean, he's really made that world and the stakes and everything great. And when people say, why a frog? Why a frog? Here's the thing. Apologies. I'm going to professor for a minute and then I'll wrap it up. I promise. Frogs are a symbol for metamorphosis. If you are afraid of the change, right, when you're a young lady, it might be helpful for you to have a story called The Princess and the Frog. By embracing the change, you will find your prince. Things like that. The frog is in Pan's Labyrinth. The frog is in so many stories as metamorphosis, as is the moth and the butterfly. The question is, what are you going to embrace? So in many ways, Cyberfrog is a metaphor for the world's changing. I don't think it's intentional, but I think it's why it works. It fits so well. And I really do think it's a great concept. I think Cyberfrog is happening right now and being successful at a very great time where it's about rediscovering our past and trying to save a world that's been taken over by a hive mind, for lack of a better way of putting it. Yes, you are. That's right. It's true. But it's about this change that needs to come from Cyberfrog embracing everything he can be as a hero. It's kind of beautiful, is that it comes naturally. Where does that come from? Is he sitting around thinking about this stuff? Well, he's sitting around thinking about a lot, but I guarantee you he is not doing auteur theory while he's working. That's not how this stuff is. But I do think the change in the comic book industry in a very profound way, and being sort of the center of a lot of their attacks once they were done with John Malin and Richard C. Meyer being Ethan, and the symbolic character, the main symbol of it being a frog, is pretty remarkable and kind of brilliant. So yeah, I mean, that's what it's like for me anyway when I'm being inspired by everything around me. I say that not because I need my premise to be true. I say it because I see beauty and poetry everywhere. I love it. Lepresti's Wraith of God needs to team up with Nosfero. Yeah, I love his stuff. And Aaron and I have had some fun on streams, man. On Gabe's channel, and then just our fun stream where we were setting up his tech was fun. Yeah, Aaron Lepresti's Wraith of God, guys. I can't wait to get that book. Gabe's colors on it look amazing. Aaron's work, of course, is breathtaking. I clicked off that. EVS took a character that was rooted in 90s style and turned it into a very effective post-apocalyptic story. You're absolutely right. It's about, this is the craziest thing. We write stories about the end of the world because we've all had our worlds end, which is to say the childhood world ends at different times for different people, but most assuredly it has to end in your life. It has to end in your teen years or your adolescence. It ends. Your body changes. Everything changes. So post-apocalyptic stories, post-divorce stories, you could go down list, post-relationship stories. These are these little apocalypse stories or experiences that the post-apocalyptic story is there to kind of help us work through and able to help us deal with where we go. And, that's why the story for me that follows the post-apocalypse genre is the Western, because the Western is that sheriff coming into the wasteland where there is no more law, where everything is chaos, and bringing order to the chaos, if that makes sense. Yeah. What's interesting is because no one's ever survived the end of the world to live and talk about it, we know it's got to be a metaphor for something, right? And so that's why I love the Western so much. The guy coming into the sheriff is in town. There's a new sheriff in town. and the apocalypse is over. Cancel the apocalypse. I like how the streaming showed the lack of continuity in older TV series. Yes, that's absolutely true. Let's see here. Yes, Hail Skip Edwards, absolutely. Remember the 90s and early 2000s were? Yes, I do. And it's coming back because it's absolutely true. No, you're right. It was in a good way because things made sense. Shoot, 2010 made more sense. But it's because all the time, these bad ideas that started in parenting and education were waiting to come to full fruition. They did not start overnight, and their collapse has not been overnight, but they are collapsing. Yes, Sulcuria are alt living in two seemingly different worlds, moving between the fluidity of emotions and the solidity of reality. Sure, yeah. I mean, pick your romantic turn of phrase for why we love stories. They're all welcome. That's the great thing about it. We experience this stuff. I don't like continuity breaking. Yeah. Neither does Eric July, man. He's on it with continuity. He takes it seriously. And I get it. I'm very much the same way. EVS, chose W. Yes, absolutely. Roach balls will survive the end of the world. Absolutely. Roach balls. What I love about roach balls is when they talk about it is, what I love about that book is, how to survive an apocalypse through laughter, which might be our most powerful weapon in the world. With the Hornets. Yeah, absolutely. With the hive mind, right? That's what's so great. Timmy Mello, hey, what's up? How are you doing? It's one thing to face the end of the world, but truly another to overcome and rebuild. You're absolutely right. It's all of these stories that we've kept alive for thousands of years have had their moments where they've been, let's even go back to Egypt, where they've been covered by the sands, where they've been lost. And it's been the people who have gone back and diligently tried to rediscover them and diligently tried to bring them back that has been important. And comics and the stories that made great comics are evergreen. We just have to make sure that we're not, that we're keeping them alive and we're moving them forward. Yes, made out of 100% roaches. You're absolutely right. Rini is geared up to have a massive lore and continuity. The Riniverse, there you go. Could be. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's funny. The thing I've been thinking about, and this is really hard to think about. This is not an answer or response to that comment, by the way, but I've just been thinking about it. Is that how these things, just keeping the stuff. Like when I'm in this world, I keep very focused on what's happening every page, every story, blah, 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 starting with it small. And what's amazing is how when things decide to become big, they take on a life of their own. And it is a miracle, guys. And that goes for CG. It's a real miracle. Let's see. Oh, wait, hold on a second here. I missed some. Boy, it jumps fast. They've done their work. They have destroyed their story. And all that's left is something wearing the characters and the story's skin suits. You're right. We see the world. We see the world they want. Yeah, but what's so funny about it is that it only works for as long as we take them seriously. Once we laugh and go, "Oh, well, this was a ridiculous segue," it's gone. Yeah, that's right. That's real. Yeah, absolutely. The Reniverse. There you go. So it is. There you have it. The Reniverse. I feel like we need an echo on that. Let's see here, because that sounds too much like which I don't think is the case. We obviously see that we don't want their world. We want our, yeah, exactly. But they have to, this is the thing, all platforms, as they refer to them, all means of communication, which is what authoritarian sees. They seize the means of communication and the right to individual liberty and free speech. Once they had that stuff, that was as they maintain that stuff, that's their only chance to make their ideas seem good, because they have to cover up all of the far better ideas in order for their stuff. Their stuff is only good when there's no choice. You know what I mean? A thirsty person will drink poison if they have no water. Yeah, absolutely. Eric the Guapo is right. The Reniverse, blood, headphones, blood. Yes, absolutely. Bring your own ear protection. There you go. Rini is known for her squeals. Okay, fair enough. All right. Yeah, I've been on a stream with Rini, and we were talking about art school, and then obviously the closeout for my good friend Billy Basco and Dan Plagle and their Goblin Girl book. Had a lot of fun. God, there's so many people I need to get in touch with and say, hey, I want to, let me say that. That's even more important. So let me see here. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing. But yeah, I mean, I just think that that what we're doing here is great. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's to say, but I say that in the most, earnest and sincere way, which is, we've made something beautiful out of nothing, and we've made great artwork and great stories without other people's established characters. We're building this from the ground up. It's going to take time, and it's naturally going to be a process where we don't know where it's going to go, because nobody ever knows what thing is going to take off or be what it is. But we do know that the more excellence that is available to people, the more you build a stronger art form and industry. And I want everybody who can sell comics, who believes in the stuff that we're doing, really believes in the rights that creators and artists should have, and believes in the rights that people have under the rule of law in this country, to be making great stuff and putting it out there. And I think that I don't know. For me, great artwork inspires me and lifts my spirits. So I do believe in that way. It is that powerful. Comics Talk with Pops Van Sant. Good to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in ages. It is great to have you here, by the way. I saw a short film by Max Landis called Wrestling Isn't Wrestling, where he touches on that, how people crave good storytelling. They absolutely do. Absolutely do. I've heard cats. Oh, God. Great art, though. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, and hey to you, Pop Van Sant. It's good to see you, Pops. God, I can't even read or talk right now. It's gotten to that point. True, that's why I've given up all entertainment except for Comics Gate and news. Yeah, I'm finding it harder and harder to like anything but people, free to do what you want. Freedom of choosing your entertainment is super important to me. I bet you have been everywhere. Yes, I am happy to see you. Not wondering why you haven't been in my chat, because I know you're busy, and I appreciate you being here, and I thank you for everything you do promoting comics and getting the word out, my friend. Tip of the hat, and much love and respect. Just been doing my thing, Sean. I'm everywhere. Added a new show to the network today. Congratulations on that, Pops. Great. Everybody check that out and subscribe to Pops if you have not yet. Timmy Mello, even sports has become. Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing, right? The good stuff will rise to the top. Hold on a second. Comic Stop with Pops. CG is getting so big, doing well yourself. Yeah, isn't that great too? Isn't it great when you can have a lot of people watching different shows, and they're all like, that there's different people who will be, one day somebody is going to come into, well, it's already happened with so many creators, but people are going to come into Comicsgate who have never heard of people that I can't imagine that they haven't heard of. And because of my channel, they're going to go, oh my gosh, I got to check their stuff out. I love that. That idea is what keeps me going and keeps me focused, is helping to get the word out on all of the great artists and people I feel very fortunate to be working alongside. Yeah, everybody's saying hello. Everybody's excited. And that's the thing about it that is so great about what we do here, is that, and what you guys are doing to get the word out about all of this stuff. I love art, and I love creativity, and I love people who love art as much as I do, and turn up and love story and love movies and love pulp. I mean, this is a straight up, love of pulp, love of horror, love of all of that, I should say the Hammer horror movies in particular, but it's a love of all of that stuff that's making this so fun and for me to do, and so great for me to share with you guys. Thank you for backing Nosfero. Thank you for tuning into this channel, and we're almost to 900 subscribers, guys. So just keep getting the word out. I know you guys have been doing a great job, and I can't imagine asking, for more of an amazing audience. It's not going to stop me from doing it, but I love you guys, and you guys are great. And thank you for coming in here to the stream. My voice is going, my hand's starting to shake. I got to get something to eat, guys. I'm sorry. I tried as long as I could, but my hand's shaking now because I'm hungry and I need to take some Advil. But thank you guys so much for backing everything. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it, brother. I'm going to wrap up this stream and with sincere gratitude to all of you guys for being here on this fine Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day wherever you are, and a wonderful day tomorrow. I will see you guys. I'm going to be doing some more streaming, obviously. And thank you so much. 1 sub from 890, guys. We're so close. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Admiral. I will get something to eat, I promise. Yes, definitely need something. Need a sandwich or something. Thank you, Teflon Ron. I appreciate it. Yes, guys. Thank you. Please enjoy the replay. Yes, get some food. Absolutely. Thank you, Timmy Mello. I appreciate it. Thank you, Scottsley. Tarks9. Thank you, Stephen Rockwood, drawing my artist brother. Much love. Thank you, Apex Comics. Absolutely, I will. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you, Pops. Thank you, John, as always. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your insights. Same thing, Cranberry Langers. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Sumo Thori, Scottsley. Thank you, Stephen Rockwood again. Skip Edwards. Thank you, John. You guys are awesome. We appreciate it. Eric the Guapo, thank you. So Art, thank you. Alt, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So let's close this out with our song, as we often do. Share the stream, share the channel. Tell people I'm on my way to 1,000 subs, because then my kids will think I'm cool. I appreciate all of you guys so much. And here you go. Here's our music that we do. This is for you guys. Much love.
Here's a little something for you busters. Yeah.
Not even learning anything on the street.
Yeah.
You think I'm stupid, son?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say to you, boy?
Yeah.
Do you?
What's up with that?
Look at me, damn it!
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. What's up with
You
that?
smoke crack, don't you?
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack.
Look at me, boy!
Hey to
You
you,
smoke crack, don't you?
don't even smoke crack.
You know what that does to you? Huh? You smoke crack, don't you?
Smoke crack.
Go on and do it expeditiously.
What's up with that?
It kills your brain cells, son. It kills your brain cells.
Don't even smoke crack.
No guts, huh?
I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now.